Say hello to the new Skoda Kodiaq. This is the second generation of the company's flagship family SUV. It's got more power, more technology, more space inside for passengers, and importantly, a much better value proposition in the showroom. The price has gone up, but there is a lot more equipment for the money. Is it enough to keep up with the new kids on the block in this segment? Think Hyundai Santa Fe, the reigning drive car of the year, Kia Sorento, and a whole bunch of other really good rivals. But has this car done enough to stand out? In this video, we're going to find out. The Skoda Kodiaq is initially available in 3 model grades. Select, price from $56,990 drive away. Sportline, price from $61,990 drive away. And Launch Edition, price from $65,490 drive away. All 3 are 7-seaters with a 140 kilowatt 2-litre petrol engine. Due later this year is a 195 kilowatt RS performance version, also with 7 seats, as well as a plug-in hybrid, though that will only be a 5-seater. The RRP of the new base Kodiaq has increased by $1,700 compared to the previous version, but Skoda says it has added $5,700 worth of additional equipment to justify the price rise. That includes leather trim, a power adjustable driver's seat, heated front seats, tri-zone climate control, a 13-inch touchscreen, traffic sign recognition, and lane keep assist. The Sportline adds equipment such as black trim, 20-inch wheels, matrix LED headlights, suede and leather sports seats, and a better audio system. And it can be optioned with an ultimate pack for $4,000, with adaptive suspension, heated outboard second row seats, head-up display, surround view camera, and more. For full details on what the new Kodiaq offers, read the full written review, link in the description down below. There's a lot in common under the skin between the new Kodiaq and the previous model. It's very familiar in terms of its platform and its architecture, but the new car is a little bit bigger, particularly in length, to create a more spacious third row. More on that a little bit later. In terms of the design, I'd say it's a bit more of a refined, a bit less chiseled design than the previous Kodiaq. Obviously it's a bigger car, and as you can see, this one here is the Sportline grade. So you get black mirrors, black trim on the bumper and whatnot. These 20-inch wheels are standard on this model, but you can get them as an option on the base Select as well. There are 3 grades in the lineup at launch: Select, this Sportline, and a Launch Edition, and there'll be an RS coming a little bit later in the year with a bit more power than what you get here. But what do you think of the design? Let us know in the comments down below. Now, it's worth noting this Kodiaq is physically smaller than a lot of its competitors. It's closer to, say, Nissan X-Trail or Mitsubishi Outlander than, for example, a Kia Sorento or a Toyota Kluger. Now, that does help it in terms of city maneuvering, making it a bit more easier to live with in day-to-day environments, but obviously it's not quite as roomy on the inside, as we'll find out in a moment. The 7-seat SUV market is a crowded one, with rivals such as the Kia Sorento, Mazda CX-80, and the reigning drive car of the year, the Hyundai Santa Fe Hybrid. There are plenty of new and used examples of cars like these for sale on Drive Marketplace. Check that out now. Now, perhaps where the biggest step up is felt over the old Kodiaq is here inside the cabin. Now, the old model was really starting to feel its age by the end of its life. So as you can see, there is a lot more technology in this new generation car. Big 13-inch touchscreen on the dash here runs Skoda's latest software. It's pretty quick to respond. You can see nice and snappy there. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, sat-nav, all the things you'd expect of a modern car. It's also got this new voice assistant as well. It does work pretty well, and it is quite a snappy system in that regard. Now, obviously you'll notice there aren't as many buttons as you got in the old Kodiaq. There's no physical bank of climate controls like you got, but there are a pretty neat solution to what is a general move towards touchscreens in the car industry, which are these 3 dials down here. They're called smart dials, and they're basically customizable functions that can be set to do different things in the car. So obviously, the most obvious one is your air conditioning controls. You can turn them, rotate for a different temperature, both on the left and the right. You can hold the right one down to sync it, which is pretty cool. But if I push it down, I get heated seat controls. Also ventilated seats as well in cars that have that feature. While this middle one can be set between 6 different functions. You get to choose 4 of the 6, but it does have up to 6. So I can choose between drive mode here. I can put that in comfort mode, for example. Press it in and it will do fan speed. Press it in again, it'll do air direction, where it goes in the car, and also to obviously do your volume dial as well. Now this is a really good alternative to what Skoda has in its other cars, which is some really fiddly touch sliders under the screen. This is a great move, and I expect to see it rolled out across the Skoda range in the coming years. Now there are still some touch controls around the place, particularly this off button here, which does sort of get in the way when you're trying to activate the nav. You find yourself, turning off the touchscreen. It's a bit of a dumb spot. I don't know why that's there, and it can be A little bit fiddly to turn back on. Not a huge fan of that. But otherwise, the cabin is very smart, very sensible, and otherwise very Skoda. Lots of storage as well. Plenty of space on here, dual wireless phone chargers, loads of storage spaces in the armrests, as well as in these cup holders. Dual glove boxes, which is pretty cool as well for loads of different storage space, as well as some little touches like this. It may look like a vape, but it's actually a screen cleaner. So you can see wiping up there. Handy little feature. And yeah, some little simply clever touches that Skoda does tend to do in its cars. This being the Sportline, you get some nice suede trim around the place, nice sport steering wheel, as well as this cool digital dials that you do get across the range in the Kodiaq. But overall, big fans of the interior of this car. If you're enjoying this review so far, do me a favour, hit that thumbs up button. Space in the back of the Kodiaq is pretty generous for a mid-size SUV. These seats slide forward and back and also recline as well with some hooks on the side. As you can see, set all the way back. I'm 6'1" or 186 centimeters tall. This driver's seat is set up for where I drive. As you can see, I've got loads of knee room there. Really good headroom, as well as plenty of toe room under the seat in front. It's pretty roomy space, but obviously if you do pull these seats forward to get a bit more space for the third row, it will be a less comfortable experience, but I suppose that's a compromise you have to make in a car of this size. Now, in terms of amenities and things to point out, you can probably notice these little tablet holders in the back of the front seats, which will be good for the kids on long journeys. You've got sunshades in the doors as well as little things like map pockets with a phone holder in each seat back. Obviously you've got a fold down center armrests with cup holders. They're a bit small, but still they are cup holders nonetheless. You've also got some space on the floor here between the seats. A little pull-out compartment. It does come out there. It fits onto the center tunnel in the car. And yeah, does a generally good job of storing some more items and keeping some things from rolling around while you're on the go. Now, air vents back here, heated seats in this spec as well on the outboard positions, as well as 2 USB ports and a 12-volt socket. Now you do have your usual complement of ISOFIX points on the outboard positions as well as 3 top tethers for the seats back here. The doors open reasonably wide, perhaps not as wide as an Nissan X-Trail, but still shouldn't be too hard, I don't think, to load child seats in the back here. But overall, pretty nice space, pretty roomy. This love the nice suede trim in this Sportline spec as well. Didn't point out in the front seats, but yeah, love the trim in this spec. Overall, big tick for the back of the Kodiaq. Now, Skoda says there is more space in the third row of this Kodiaq, but still it is a small car on the outside and there isn't a whole lot of room back here. Now, this seat is all the way back where I had it before, just doing the bit in the second row. As you can see, try and slide back here. Yeah, I'm not fitting back there. Obviously, this section isn't for adults. It is a very much a kid-only zone. And you could probably fit adults if you slid those middle seats all the way forward, but yeah, there wouldn't be much leg room for the middle seat passengers if you did that. So yeah, very much space for young kids particularly. But it is worth noting there don't seem to be any ISOFIX or any child seat anchor points back here. No ISOFIX, no top tethers either. So that's something worth considering. This is perhaps something for little kids who are out of car seats but aren't yet tall enough to have any legroom issues in the back here. Now you do have some lights back here as well as obviously your seat belts up here and some little spaces for cups and things on the side. But yeah, there don't appear to be any air vents that I can see back here. It is a pretty tight space. So yeah, definitely for occasional use only. Now the Kodiaq may be one of the smaller cars in the 7-seat SUV class on the outside, but it is still pretty roomy in the boot here, similar to what we saw in the cabin a moment ago. You can see just under 300 litres of space back here is what Skoda claims, which is actually bigger than what a lot of its competitors claim, on paper at least. You can see a lot of practical touches that we've come to expect from Skoda, including this little sort of frame, I suppose, that lets you secure things tightly in the boot, and obviously it velcros down to things there so it doesn't slide around too much on the go. Obviously you can fold down the rear seats with a pair of those clips there, and you get even more room, and obviously those second row seats do also go down for even more space behind the front seats. But yeah, pretty practical space. You got some bag hooks around the place, a 12-volt socket on the left-hand side, as well as some LED lights. Under the floor here, open up this, you got space for the cargo cover as well as a spare wheel, which is nice. A lot of cars in the segment, including the Santa Fe, have moved to tyre repair kits, which aren't as convenient if you get a puncture on a country road. If you enjoy videos like this, take control of your YouTube algorithm and hit that subscribe button down below so you can see all of Drive's latest content as it goes live. Powering the Skoda Kodiaq at launch is a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, which develops 140 kilowatts and 320 newton meters, that's 8 kilowatts more than before, matched with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission and standard all-wheel drive. Skoda claims fuel consumption of 9.2 litres per 100 kilometres in mixed driving. We saw between 7.5 and 9 litres per 100 kilometres on this launch drive, though it was almost exclusively on the highway and in country driving, where fuel consumption does tend to be lower. Alright, behind the wheel of the new Skoda Kodiaq. Now, There's a lot in common here with the old model in terms of the way this new car drives, but still, that doesn't mean it is a bad thing to drive, not at all. Now, this engine is familiar from the previous car, 2-litre turbo 4-cylinder. It has been upgraded a bit and is a little bit more powerful as well, 140 kilowatts rather than 132. But again, this is a bigger car, so probably some of that performance gain is offset by this new model. Now, it is probably adequate, I'd say, in terms of performance. It's not a powerhouse, but it's not underpowered. It's sort of just on the money where any less power and it would start to feel a little bit breathless when you load this car up. It's got good mid-range, it's not too much turbo lag. It is a pretty refined engine, but yeah, it isn't the fastest car in this segment, that's for sure. And even compared to a Santa Fe hybrid, which does feel a little bit more urgent more of the time. Now, it would be nice to have the option of a hybrid in this car. Obviously, a lot of competitors are moving that way. Santa Fe, Sorento, Kluger obviously has been there for a couple of years. And yeah, to have that electric boost when the engine is just off boost and when the gearbox is perhaps in a higher gear, that would be nice to see, and obviously would reduce your fuel bills as well. This launch drive has been focused very much on country driving. We've been seeing in the region about 7 litres per 100 kilometres on the freeway, and sort of 8 litres or so in country touring. But again, obviously city use, stop-start driving will increase that fuel consumption a fair bit. Now that engine is matched with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. It's definitely one of the smoother iterations of this gearbox in the Volkswagen group. It does hesitate a smidge off the line, but it is really, really good. And isn't that far off the smoothness of a torque converter gearbox. It can be a little bit slow to react at times when it's in one of its more comfort-oriented modes, but is generally quick to respond. It's generally quick to shift as well, and it does what you want without getting in the way too much. So definitely a tick on that there. All Kodiaqs are all-wheel drive, but it's been dry on this launch drive. We haven't really had the opportunity to put that to the test, but in the times where this car driving a bit harder in a performance environment and perhaps it has induced some wheel slip, it seems to manage the power quite well and doesn't get too unruly when you're driving this car in a more enthusiastic way. Obviously, this isn't designed to be a sports car, but the Kodiaq is actually quite dynamic, surprisingly dynamic for a 7-seat family SUV. It doesn't feel as big as you might think for a car of this size. It's probably not a hot hatch, I'd say. It isn't trying to be either, but it's surprisingly dynamic. It's quite small on the road. It's quite nimble, turns in well. The steering is quite quick and accurate without being too heavy at low speeds. And yeah, if you want a 7-seat SUV like this, it's a bit more fun to drive. This Kodiaq is a really good option. In terms of comfort over bumps, that will depend on the model you choose. The entry-level Select is on smaller 19-inch wheels with passive dampers, which means you can't control how firm they are over bumps. It's probably the most comfortable in the range, with the most natural feeling over bumps. It's a little bit firm perhaps at times, has a sort of European feel we've come to expect of Skodas and Volkswagen Group cars in general, but it's compliant. It's pretty supple. It's not too stiff. It's not rip your bones out or anything like that. It's actually a really soft and quite comfortable car to drive both in town as well as on the freeway. The two more expensive grades in the model range, the Sportline and Launch Edition, come with adaptive suspensions. You can vary how firm you want it depending on the road surface, both through 15 stages in the touchscreen as well as the different preset drive modes the car has that it lets you select from. Now, something interesting we've noticed that while it does give you a better spread between having a super plush ride in the city and a sort of a firmer ride for sporty driving, this Sportline as well has slightly firmer suspension as well, a sportier tune, sort of dial into some of its name. We have noticed the body control at higher speeds, over undulations, train tracks, things like that you find on a country road, for example. It's not quite as sure-footed as we might like, and as we might expect for European car. It's not too bad, but at times over particularly, undulating sections, we start to feel a little bit, not car sick, but sort of starting to go down that road. It could be a little bit better. And we did firm up the suspension and it did generally improve the situation, but yeah, could be a little bit more room for improvement there. We'd be sticking with the entry-level Select on its passive dampers, and that seems to be a better balance between comfort and control in a bunch of different driving scenarios. Other things worth calling out, visibility here is pretty good. Decent vision out the back, at the front and the sides as well. The wing mirrors are pretty big as well. A whole bunch of safety systems available to you in this car. They all work pretty well, as we've come to expect from other Skoda cars. There's no, really annoying driver monitor that beeps you all the time. There's no annoying lane keep assist. There is a retention monitor that does occasionally flash up if you're looking at the touchscreen for too long, but it's not over-intrusive like a lot of Chinese cars we've driven lately. And it is worth calling out that there is a fair bit of road noise in this car, particularly on country roads, on coarse chip surfaces, and in the Sportline, more so than the base model. Yeah, it does get quite intrusive. You do have to turn up the stereo a little bit, but it's not too bad. You can probably live with it after a while, but it is something worth keeping in mind compared to some of the other cars in this segment. Overall, there's a lot to like about the way the Skoda Kodiaq drives. It feels like a smaller car. It doesn't feel like a big, heavy SUV, and to a lot of buyers, that will really appeal. It's nice to drive, the engine has enough punch, could be a little bit more fuel efficient. As I said before, seeing about 7 to 8 litres per 100 kilometres at a cruise, which isn't quite up there with some of the hybrid options in this segment. But overall, it's a nice car to drive, it's comfortable, it handles well, and yeah, it's hard to see buyers being disappointed with the way this car performs on the road. So there we have it, the new Skoda Kodiaq 7-seat SUV. Skoda clearly hasn't messed with the formula of this car. It keeps many of the attributes we loved about the previous model, but in some ways it would be nice if they went a little bit further in some areas. Particularly, the addition of a hybrid system would be really, really good, given consumers are adopting that technology in greater numbers. But what we have here is a really impressive SUV. It's surprisingly roomy inside, even though it's quite compact on the outside. Great new interior that answers some of the complaints we've seen made about previous Skoda models in the last couple of years, and it is really nice to drive as well. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments down below. And of course, to read the full written review, head to Drive.com.au. If you're after something else to watch, click above to see why we crowned the Hyundai Santa Fe Hybrid the 2025 Drive Car of the Year.